I am born in Kerala in southwest Kerala is southwest India. Anyway, called small village called Manimala
Okay.
in Kottayam district, and yeah, I went to school. Because in that time, the school was quite far away, so I have to go back. Um, so walking from my school maybe 3-4 miles every day. So that kind of school was a village school, and when I was in the school, I went to see a Kathakali performance with my dad. I was, I think, 7 or 8, because the temple in front of my school. One day, my head teacher announced tonight going to be a Kathakali show in the village temple. So I went home. I forgot, and that night I saw the night Dad's dressing up. I asked him, "Where are you going?" And he said, "Yeah, I've got a Kathakali show." I said, "Can I come?" And he said, "Yeah." So I went with him and see the Kathakali show, and so that was in my mind. When I finished my school, I applied for in Kalamandalam, and also I was studying a little bit other kind of a Bharatanatyam, Indian dance, and so they selected me as a Kathakali student in Kalamandalam in 1975. So that's why I joined Kalamandalam in 1975.
So what was your initial interest in Kathakali? There must be something. What triggered you?
Yeah, because when I was 7 or 8, I saw the show in the village temple. So I thought it's fantastic. I thought I want to study, but my parents was not very keen on it because I can't get a job after you study Kathakali. So said, what are you going to do after studying Kathakali? But always I like to be a performer. Maybe that was all about. So I was studying a bit of Bharatanatyam because I like the dance. So then I thought this is not for me. So I thought Kathakali is for me. So that's why I start. That is take me. Another thing is my family. My dad is a good. He was doing a painting and kind of stuff. He was very good, and my mother was a good singer, and both retired now. And my aunties was performers. So when I was grown up with them, so I can see they are performing and kind of stuff. So that is always interested me to go this path.
And how did you convince your father?
I told I'm applying, and father said that's fine. Father took me to the Kalamandalam interview, and we had lots of nearly 200 or 300 people was there for a student as a student. So they took 5 people in that year. I was one of them. So I'm lucky to go that admission in Kalamandalam. So yeah.
Vijayakumar, if you could explain to us what is Kathakali and the basic elements of Kathakali, which would be a bit more helpful for us.
Yeah, Kathakali is South Indian classical dance drama. People call sometimes as Kathakali dance. Kathakali actually is not a dance. Kathakali is a drama, storytelling drama. I mean, you can ask why this story is created. In all the religions, they brought the stories for a moral education. So in Kuriyatam, in Kathakali, you can imagine many years ago, we had no universities or colleges. The stories passed through the generation to generation because of the stories, and stories created to moral stories to educate the people. That is basically more than a communication, I think, because this Kathakali sign language is made for drama.
Yeah.
So that's Kathakali, and Kathakali also I believe sacred, and Kathakali got 500 years old, but lots of things are no 500 years, more than 500 years. For example, we are using the Kathakali mudras. Mudras is 4,000 years old. You look all these statues in the god or goddesses or even Christ, you can see the sign language, because that mudra, 4,000 years old, when Kathakali began, they took the sign language made for a dramatic language to tell the stories. So lots of elements are many, many years old. Kathakali, can you imagine this? When you are performing, first example, can you imagine? This is the seed. Okay, I'm showing a flower. This is a seed. Imagine that seed, how to develop. This is example. The seed is growing because the flower, you have to show happy. So can you imagine the flower? There we go. This is the element of one of example when the Kathakali sign language just starting with the gesture, then put the facial expression, then the body. So that is one of the main element of Kathakali. The second is when the story I am talking to the people, the singers singing the poem. The poem I am translating. So it's like storytelling using the sign language, using the facial expression and the body language, at the same time the music and the rhythm and the makeup and the costume to build up all the way the beginning to the end. So that's when we are going to schools, I tell the students, this is hand gesture, example hand gesture for anger, that's it. And can you imagine that hand gesture with the face? Can you imagine the full body? Can you imagine with the music, with the drumming? So that's the way I'm telling the story. So that is one of the main elements. But elements are lots of coming from the temple because of the dedication, and you have to go through that, what they call the experience of understanding this temple culture, and then you have to take the character. Imagine many years ago we have no television, no radio, no pictures. So we are seeing this character in the epic stories, the Hindu, like Lord Krishna or Rama or Bhima or Nala. We are seeing through Kathakali. That is created by, I believe, this all the temple. Because can you imagine a priest going to the temple and he doing to the the closed door and decorating to the idea, what they call the god or a goddesses, put the flowers, put the lamps, and then when they are ready to open to show to the audience, to the devotees, exactly same we doing, exactly same way in Kathakali, that devotion, taking to the dressing room, quiet, doing the makeup, getting slowly getting the character, and then when they're ready and the stage and the Tarasila is a piece of cloth, they move open to the audience. Exactly same, because the elements is lots of coming from the temples. Okay, one thing is when the priest gave into us, if we are all one or another way believe the God, we don't know what it is, but we need something to believe. So that is, we are the priest given to us is the priest would do the bath or a shower or whatever, and purified his body and his mind, go into the temple and go inside, close the door, and he make ready for decorating to the statue or whatever, and then put the flowers and the lights and the lamp, and then when they're ready, they open to the devotees, and they can see the god or goddesses. In that is then can you imagine in that stories people want to see the Lord Krishna is moving, Lord Krishna is in life. That's all he can do, the human. That is the human thing, is we are doing it. can imagine the stories we have to performing. We need costume, we need a makeup. So we are quite beautified. I remember when I was in Kalamandalam, the student, and we go to the temple, and we had a, the evening bath or whatever, and then go into the temple, and then we go into the dressing room. I'm doing the makeup, and we are totally committed to that, no messing around. And then we finish the makeup and do the costuming, and then maybe evening 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock or maybe 9 o'clock starting the show. When they put the teresila is like a door of the stage, a special place. So when we are ready, the teresila is moved, people can see that character is moving. The characters can be a god or a goddesses or a Nala or Hindu epic characters. The characters get in the people. How to get it? Because the music is the singing by Malayalam and Sanskrit. Because then they knew the Malayalam, they can more enjoy and more understand it. And so even they don't understand the language, you can feel it. So that's the element work together and to tell the stories. Is that right? Okay.
Just before we go on, you were talking about the origin and this connection to the ritualistic aspect.
Yeah.
Would you draw a line on older items like Teyam, for instance, where the dancer performer becomes actually the personified Devi or goddess?
Yeah. In Kerala, we got lots of different art forms from south to the north. In one of the, my village, it's got Padayani. Is quite similar to the Theyyam, and that is totally devotion, not storytelling. And then is going north and north and north, and also you can see in the middle of Kerala, you can see the what they call Velagali. That is also a ritual. Though there are rituals growing. In north of Kerala, Theyyam. Actually, Theyyam is Devam. Devam means God. So that is people saying told to become a Theyyam. Devam become a Theyyam. So that is the characters are, the performers, the kalasams, the makeup, and I'm not saying they are not telling the stories, but they are showing as a god or a goddesses in coming to the earth and mixing with the people and blessing and going back. But when Kathakali, we are quite similar, but we are telling the story, telling the character. So that's a different Kathakali and Theyyam. And also, when Kathakali, we are telling the story, can be a love scenes, can be a fighting scenes, can be a friendly scene, can be a what they call a killing scene, and so that is all in our life. That is connecting with the old tradition like temples culture to inject to the drama, then telling the story. That is a Kudiyattam is exactly the same, Kathakali is exactly the same. Even Ottantullal is what they call a tourist storytelling. That is more pure Malayalam to get into the people. But drama as a Sanskrit is a Kudiyattam, it's a Sanskrit. Kathakali is Sanskrit and Malayalam. And in Ottantullal or a Mohiniyattam, it's a pure Malayalam. So you can see, to understand it, is coming down to, if I speak Latin, nobody understands it. You have to speak in English because people understand it. So that's why might be made all the language changes in art forms. So, but at the same time, I believe the elements are coming from the temple, linked with the temple rituals, movements, even a Theyyam using Maneola. We are using exactly the same Maneola for a makeup. That is exactly the same in Ottantullal and Kudiyattam and Chutti. Chutti is the only Kathakali and Kudiyattam. That is also coming from the powder painting. So you can see the powder painting is in a temple ritual, but at the same time that took that technique to the face and telling the framing to the face. People think it's a beard. It's not, because it's as a frame the face, that people can say it. It's exactly the same. You go into the temple god, like a Lord Krishna, they put the sandalwood and then make like a makeup. So I believe all that coming from started from the temples, then move on to the people as a ritual, then became a drama.
Yeah, could you tell us about Kalamandalam as an institution and the training which you had it from there?
Actually, Kalamandalam is a first Kathakali institution as a government institution, and before Kalamandalam, every Kathakali course was in a big rich Nambudiri families, or a rich what they call temples, or just course like that, and people or some teachers teaching the performances and then they're performing. But actually, when India was getting independent, or before the 1990s, no, sorry, 900,
1947.
no, before that, because the British was living in India, all art form was going down, because if no proper a school or a colleges to study. So Vallathol is a poet, and he was talking to his friends. Look, if because his father was it's a Kathakali Kathakali devotee, and he loved. That's why Vallathol, when he was little, he saw lots of Kathakali performances, good Kathakali performances, and he realized you have to do something about it. Otherwise, this art form going to die out. So we call Mahakavi Vallathol, and as a great poet, and he started to begging money, to get money to start a very, very small one classroom, to start in Chirathurthi, and become, now is a university, is for a classical art forms like Kathakali, Kodiyattam, Ottantullal, Mohiniyattam, Bharatanatyam, all of them. So that is started in 1930s, then started developing again back with lots of gurus. And also I know is a nearby in Chirathurthi as a village called Vellineri. It's got a old Nambudiri families, as they are supported in Kathakali many, I think hundreds of years, and that's why Kathakali survived. And so one particular guru called Pattikyantudi Ramuni Menon Ashan, and he was brought up in that village, and the Nambudiri family was very proudly supported for him, and he created so many teachers like Ramankutti Ashan, Patnam Nair Ashan, Kumaran Nair Ashan, Krishnan Nair Ashan. So Ashan means guru. This is before Kalamandalam. Then Kalamandalam started, and all Ramundi Menon came to Kalamandalam as a teacher. All the students came to Kalamandalam, so they became a Kalamandalam. And then Krishnan Kutti Poduval, Appakutti Poduval, and Govindavari Ashan for the makeup. So that is Kalamandalam now. So me and Barbara went to Kalamandalam, and I was 11 years was studying Kathakali in Kalamandalam with the Patnam Ashan, Gopi Ashan, all other actors. Kalamandalam now is a big institution. In 1975, I joined with Kalamandalam. In Kathakali, got a two type of Kathakali. One is northern style and southern style, and Kalamandalam had the southern style. They took me to southern style, and I studied 2 years in southern style with the Madavur Vasudevan Nair Ashan. So then I realized I am in the north, and I like the northern style of Kathakali. I asked Kalamandalam to change to northern style, so I changed to the northern style and studied with Kalamandalam Padmanabhan Nair Ashan, and he is my main guru. And he talked to me everything. It's the movements, the sign language, and the background, and the history, and the characters. And he actually he asked me to perform female characters, because in Kathakali, female characters performed by men. And first I thought, why I want to do the female character. He said to me, Vijay, try to these female characters because you are not very tall, and if you specialize in female, and you can easy to establish your name. And I said, that's fine. So I started to perform the male characters and the female characters. When you are a student, you have to learn all the characters, all the poems, all the sign language, and then you have to specialize. So I'm specialized now is in the female characters. But Kalamandalam, the course is quite a hard course. When we are a student, we have to wake up 4 o'clock in the morning and go to the classroom, and then we get this put the oil in the body exercise. You have to sweat, and then you have to get this oil massage. Use the feet to massage, and that is finished something like 7 o'clock or 6:30ish, something like that.
So
and
your Ashan
yeah.
massaging you is not.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, you have to lie down on the floor. He massaged me it's quite hard, like a frog. You have to lie down on the frog, and then he going to his breakfast or whatever, and we go into our shower and kind of stuff, and then we had to get a breakfast. Then 8:30 we start the class again, and guru and student is like a family. It's no separation. A guru wanted to come early, he can. So we finish 12 o'clock in the morning class. Then we get a midday meal, a bit of rest. 2 o'clock we go into another class again, and to 5 o'clock to finish. Then sometimes can be evening class. This is start going on and on and on. And first is very hard. You have to, and the elements is you studying sign language, then you studying the facial expression, then you studying the body exercise. Just like a military training, and then when first year or second year or a third year, you start to perform. Then you know what you training for. So, and then you get the routine. So then we have to see the gurus are performing and performing with them and traveling with them, and that's the way we growing up, and then slowly you started to your own performances, which is I did when I was finished my Kalamandalam course, nearly finished my Kalamandalam course, and that was my first course is finished 1982 or 83, and then I got a post-graduation and a scholarship, and I realized is what we're going to do after this. We can't get a job anywhere. So me and my friend bought a full set of Catholic costumes, and that time was quite a lot of money, spending money, because I was going with the Kalamandalam troupe abroad. I was in Europe, and I was in Scandinavian countries and UK. So I had some money, so used that money to brought these costumes and decorated, and we arranged a small group, and we conduct performances all over Kerala. And then one day the Barbara just because we are a student, and Barbara came back in Kalamandalam, and Barbara saw we are struggling, and Barbara said, I remember in one of these performance plays, we are sitting in a dressing room, and we are talking what we can do. I told Barbara, I don't think I can continue like this anymore, because there's no enough performances. That's a big problem when you finish Kalamandalam course. What are you going to do? That is not just Kalamandalam, all over the world, isn't it? So Barbara said, look, we can try. And Barbara said, I will try to get performances in UK. And I said, that's great, okay. And then Barbara came back to UK, and then we have no costumes. Barbara sent money to buy a costume, because I have not any money. So we bought the costume, and when Barbara came back to India and we finished the costumes 1988, and we decided to bring Kathakali troupe in the UK and with the Kathakali costumes, and all came back, and we sent back an artist in India, and I continued the education work in the UK and stayed. So that was all about me and Barbara worked together, and then we lived together. So that is then we married, and so that's life. In Kalamandalam, when we are a student, I told the beginning, we are like a family, and it's a matter, it's your teacher or any other teacher, is everyone look after you, and you look after them. Is that if what that was, as I'm saying, is a family, so if you are ill or whatever, you're going to see your teacher, because your family is not there, their family is far away, so only you can the teachers take care of you, and you take, then teachers sometimes is, I remember my guru, my Padmanabhan Nairasan, and he getting some performances, he asking, can you come in that day, we got a performance in Palgad or a Trivandrum or a Kottayam. I said, yeah, fine, yeah, we go in with the Ashan, and sometimes he's and he paying in the bus fare or whatever, and we going to the shops and buying meals or whatever, and yeah, it's like a father and a son. That relationship is, you are getting it, and because the lifestyle is changed now, and I remember when you are a student, full night performance all over Kerala. In Kathakali means starting with 9 o'clock in the evening to finish early morning 6 o'clock. You know why? Because in that days we have no transport. When you are going to the village temple, doing the show, finish in midnight, then you can go home because you have no transport. Now this lifestyle is changed. Everyone got a car. They come to the show, they watch whatever, they're going back. They don't bother to stay all the way to the end. I think all the way to a full night. Now is no full night shows, not that many, because lifestyle is changed. I can see the teachers and the students, because the teachers going their own cars, the students may be going with their friends. We used to go the teachers and the student together, maybe a public bus, and then the night is no public bus, we all come back in the public bus next day morning. So lots of things are changed, and also can you imagine 100 years ago, the teacher, they don't need that much. They need a food, to sleep somewhere, and with a cloth. Now they go, their families, their children need to college or universities, they want to travel, they need a car, they need more money, their lifestyle is changed. That is affecting to everywhere. And the relationship, I'm saying, is the teachers and the students, relationship is moved. I can see that now, but I'm not blaming to anyone. That is, our lifestyle is changed. Maybe a good thing, maybe a bad thing, but I like it used to be the old way of life, because you are going with the teachers, you live in a village, you live like a family, and going to the temple, doing the show full night, or next day coming back, sleep, then going to another temple. That relationship is, because of lifestyle changed, everything changed. When I was a student in Kalamandalam, we are only maybe Kathakali students is altogether is 20 or 25 Kathakali students. Altogether, that is first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, sixth year, maybe 5 students in 1 year. That like that. Or 4 students or 3 students. And when you are going to the show with the teachers, we are all going, all watching, all doing it. And now it's too many people doing it, because the university got 400 students. Where can they perform 400 students? And you have to find a way to get a different way to live on. Otherwise, because I remember when I was a student, so many good students or good graduates, where they gone? They disappeared. because they have to do some other jobs to live to their life. So because I said at the beginning, when I finished my Kalamandalam, my 11-year course, my course, then the scholarship and the post-graduation all finished, where can I go? So I told my friends, look, if we go, one person in Trivandrum, one person in Kannur, other person in Kottayam, we will split up. We have to stay together. We can stay in our village, same village, where Kalamandalam is in Cheruthi, buy a costume, and then that was my idea, staying in Cheruthi, and we call Nadana Kalodayam, and we are as a small group, and we started performing. We going to village, and I told the teachers, look, we need a performances. I was not against anyone. We are trying to survive ourselves. So that is need to sort this out. Otherwise, is institution. We got a Kalamandalam, we got a Irinjalakuda Kalanilayam, we got a Kottakkal Kathakali school, we got a Southernam, and Margi school in Trivandrum. So many places the students they studied come out, where they can go, where they can perform, what is their future. This is very, very serious question. That's why I am saying we have to find a different, these artists all talented, they need to survive somehow. I don't know what is the best thing to do. That is maybe to think about it to survive and keep the students alive.
Could you tell us about your favorite roles and favorites? So you might have done thousands of them, but your favorite ones.
Difficult to say the favorite characters or performers, but sometimes if you are performing with the example, the great Guru Dr. Kalamandalam, Padmashri Kalamandalam Gobiasan, can you imagine performing with him? You get that what they call the big connection, so that's the favorite shows. So you are not performing yourself, you are performing with others, with the music, with the musicians and the great gurus. So I did lots of work with the Gobiasan and in the UK or in India or in Europe, and like other asans like Vasu Pisharodi, Southern Krishnankutti Asan, Kottakkal Chandrasekhar Asan, and Kalamandalam Balasubramanian. So many actors, but I can't tell which is my favorite. But when I am doing the shows in the schools or colleges, sometimes I do Pudana Mokshama or other stories, or I created a story loosely based on Snow White story. That story we performed maybe 500 stages. People love it because they know the story, then they can follow it. So one of the favorite stories is that, and favorite characters I'm performing the Snow White, and Gobiasan performed the prince, Nelliyodasan did the evil queen, and other people did the hunter, the red beard, and Nalajarita, we performed so many of them in UK, Mahabharata, and with the Ramayana, with the Kichaka, so many of them favorite, but no, I can't say this is a favorite, but yeah.
If you could explain a little bit more about, you have explained about your professional career in Kerala as a Kathakali artist. What about as a professional career in the UK?
Professionally, I was in Kerala. I was okay. Was great. Was good. Then I came to UK, and me and Barbara started to arrange the Kalachedra Catholic Company, and we organized and we performed thousands of theaters and colleges or universities. The good thing is, when we go into the school or colleges, we do the workshop. We explaining what Kathakali is. We explaining how is the symptoms work, and and I satisfied sometimes is more than in India, because in here the school students got the chance to understand learning the world theatre, and in India they haven't got that chance to learn world theatre. So many times when we go to the school or colleges, even they knew what Kathakali, this is something different. They knew this is something they can take it. And example, I remember one school we went to. That school, two kids' parents was deaf. Anyway, these children knew the British Sign Language, but they are very shy to show the sign language because they think something weird. Because they have nothing, they can speak, they can hear, but their parents are deaf. But when I finish, because I am performing with the sign language, and they are so proud of it. The teacher said after that their shy is gone. So many elements like that. It was great, So that is, I like working in the school or colleges to satisfy to people understanding the stories, moral stories. They're looking, they understand it, they're asking questions. They are when we are doing the workshop, and we tell them how is working the sign language, then how is working the body language, when it's working together, the music. Then they are creating their own thing. They are not copying my movements. They are creating their own movements, because they know the idea of the sign language can develop with the full body language, and then telling the stories. That can be a dance or a drama. So that is, we are, last maybe 35 years of me and Barbara's work is all over UK, all abroad. We went to Indonesia, Brazil, and Canada, and Germany, and everywhere. Yeah. So that is, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. One more thing, Vijayakumar. So recently I have watched some of your videos about this sign language which you're trying to propagate through the social media, which is the newest way.
Yeah.
So how successful you are?
I don't know how successfully. Now I got followers. I got some students studying in Australia, other places. But my idea is, all over the world got a sign language, like British Sign Language, German Sign Language, French Sign Language, American Sign Language. What is the different? That's why I was looking for first. Different from European Sign Language and the Catholic Sign Language. I was studying and to look into it. And then I started practicing a little bit in the British Sign Language. Then I realized if I am to practice British Sign Language, I'm going to lose my Catholic Sign Language. But I learned quite a lot. The difference is, example, in Catholic Sign Language, the British Sign Language is showing A, B, C, D. That's the sign language. What we got, exactly same as alphabet in Catholic. And I realized we got alphabet. The alphabet put together to make a word. The word tell the stories. But when a European Sign Language or any other sign language, they made for a communication, not for a drama. So that's a different, my sign language. So how can I take this sign language to a practical language? That is my idea of starting to developing many years. As I said, is using the sign language, but this is one of the alphabet. This is another one. This is another one. We got a 24 alphabet. Then alphabet put together to make a word. For example, this is happy. This is one of the alphabet. This is happy. Then the top hand going down, bottom hand coming up, changing to the other shape. Then little bit movement. Then top hand going down, bottom hand coming up to make this another alphabet. It's like any other language. You are saying is car. C plus A plus R, car. Exactly same way I am using the sign language as a one alphabet to another alphabet, another alphabet to another alphabet. So this is amazed me because no any other language no doing like that. Because in other sign languages you say India like that, or what else again like that, but that is nothing to do with the alphabet. But we are this 24 alphabet, one hand shape to another hand shape, and hand shape to another hand shape, just like any other language. So I thought, why I can't do this as a practical language? And also when I'm doing a sign language like river, if I show river like this, it's pouring down the water, then deep, deep, and to the end. This is a river. But the audience to see the river, because we are showing what the object is, and that is a body language, and finishing it. That's every single words. Even elephant, you can see the elephant, then elephant walking, and elephant eating. So this is amazed me as a drama. So is any drama people, this is can easy to learn it. They can inject their own drama. So then I thought is this language example. Here we show this sign language for father. This is one alphabet, this alphabet. So what I thought is, and guru we showing exactly same thing, and uncle we show exactly same thing. What I thought, if I change a little bit, that little bit is because this is alphabet, because Padakam, Mudrakyam, Katakam, Mushti, Kartrimugam, Shukadundam, Kapitakam, Hamsapaksham, Shikeram, Hamsasyam, Anjali, Arthachandram, Mukuram, Brahmaram, Sujigamukam, Pallavam, Tripatagam, Prakashesham, Sarpashiras, Varthamanagam, Aralam, Onanapam, Mugulam, Katakamukam. This is a 24 alphabet. But this alphabet is not a one syllable. Because Padagam is a word. Then how can I make a Padagam is a word? Sorry, as a syllable. So I was thinking of how can I make Malayalam. Malayalam has got a 51 alphabet, then character, and then you put the we call join characters. Then this is a vowel characters. Then I thought, why don't I could make A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X. Then I thought, why and Z? Because English got 26, I got 24. Because we're using one of these. This is Y and Z. So now I can say, this is the father. If I start with the F, is the father. Exactly the same thing. A G starting as a guru. A U is an uncle. The movements is the same. But I'm telling a different words. People easy to understand it. This is I am propagating to the through the my thingy to establish if might be one day this is easy can take it. Now I'm 6,000 or 7,000 words I already recorded. Now I'm going to put in my website and anybody can, because trying to explain what it is. When you know it, the easy can you follow it. So and if you want that ritual, I can say now CHUR, because Kathakali you can't say Trichur because Trichur is a place. And other idea is I thought is countries. When we say countries, this is sign language for country. How can you say USA? So what I made is, this is a U, U, S, A. The movements is the same. The one movement you learn it, and you can say UK, UK. So you can say Ireland, IRA, or no, what they call Ireland, IR, isn't it? IRE. Yeah, IRE. So movements is one. Then you can think. So you have learned 500 or countries, and also I was thinking of the number. The day. We say January. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This is the day. But this is the earth. This is the sun in Kathakali. And this is the day. Okay. So the sun is staying there. The earth is going up and down. Can you imagine? This is before the Galileo. They made the earth is staying. Sun is staying. Earth is moving around. That's the way we created. So how can I make this to be a Sunday? Okay, sun, starting with the S, sun, day. Okay, it's moon day. You start with the M, moon. This is the moon. I change to M, moon, day. Tuesday, T, Wednesday, W, Thursday. So that is movements is only one movement. We're learning different words. That is my idea. So I want to establish this one or another way.
Namaskaram, Barbara.
Namaskaram.
Yeah, Barbara, could you tell us about your early life? Where were you born? Where you grew up? A little bit of information, please.
My early life was in a cotton mill town called Rochdale in Lancashire, and I wasn't very good at school. I failed at everything. The only thing I could do was draw, and I desperately wanted an horse. So my mum and dad couldn't afford to buy me one, so I drew them instead. And this is important because it comes back in later in life. To me, these drawings were alive, they were real. And if I wanted to ride about on an horse, I'd take one of my imaginary drawings, make it real, and go out to school or playing with my friends, always riding my imaginary horse. So when it came to leaving school, I was a bit stuck really. I asked my mum, what should I do when I leave school? Because I wanted to work on a farm with horses, or be a nurse, or go to art college to draw. And my mum said, if you work on a farm, you'll stink, so I'd go to art college if I were you. So off I went to Rochdale College of Art, thinking I were going to draw horses all day, but it wasn't like that at all. We had to do still life drawing, and drawing for hours and hours and hours on end to be able to be an artist. So because I couldn't get any O levels to go in to do a degree in fine art, I was at Rochdale College of Art for 5 years. By the end of it, I'd already done 3 years longer than most students on a degree course. I wanted to go somewhere where I could take my felt pony, my little felt pony called Shem, and I wanted to take him to college. So I went to Winchester School of Art, where they had a lot of open fields, and I managed to get a place for me and a place for my horse Shem. So my love of drawing, my love of art came not from art itself, but from the love of horses. So I was studying textiles and fashion in Winchester School of Art, and one day I was drawing and I looked at my paintings and I realised I could see them breathing. I could see the colours expanding and contracting. And then as the days went on, I could feel the colours speaking, not in words, but a kind of vibration. And then I felt that the colours had something really special. I felt the colours had a soul. And at that point, I realised I had to bring colours alive, but I had no idea how. Because remember, I'm at art college, not training in performing arts, but in visual arts. So I started experimenting. First thing I did, I put my paintings and drawings not on a wall, but hanging in the trees, or floating in rivers, or in the ground, anywhere that was a living surface. And then I had an idea to go down to Bournemouth Beach. I took some dye from college and I put a little bit in the sea and then watched. And as the waves crashed on the ground, these beautiful colours were absolutely incredible. But I looked around and I'd done half a mile of Bournemouth Beach in multicolours. So I thought, I can't do this is polluting. So I went back to college and thought, what can I do? I've got to bring colours alive. And then a revelation. I saw my friend walking down the corridor and it was a sunny day and the sun was on one side of his face. And I thought, that's it. This is my surface for living colour. People. People have got feelings, they've got emotions, they can communicate, they can move, and they've got a soul. My perfect vehicle for living colour. So I started to put colours and shapes on people and realised every time they moved I had a different sculpture. So I had millions of sculptures because I was putting my work on people. So at art college I was developing my ideas of how to make colours come alive. And I started to grow colour. I thought, why am I painting green? Why don't I grow it? So I started growing grass inside fabrics. And I started putting flowers inside clear plastic bags. So the flowers would grow out and I could put that around someone's neck like a scarf. And it was becoming more and more sculptural. And for my degree show, I created 7 different characters that were moving sculptures and put them in this installation. And my degree external examiner, asked to see me. And when I turned up with looking like I am, she couldn't believe I was the one that had created this work. She expected someone like David Bowie to turn up, and I came. So I'd finished college and I applied to go to the Royal College of Art to do light transmission and environmental media. I also wanted to train in makeup because I wanted the face to be the centre of the sculpture, so everything came through the performer, through the eyes, through the face, into the space to create the energy of the sculpture. And this is where my life changed. I wanted to go to Australia to find the Aborigines, to ask them if I could study their makeup, which was abstract, so that I could blend the images in with the face. And this is where it changed. I had no money, I was very poor, and I hitchhiked all the way across Europe, sleeping in fields, sleeping under bridges, anywhere, because I didn't care. I was just going up to Australia. I went all the way through Turkey, through Iran and Afghanistan, where I was walking on my own in the mountains of Afghanistan near Bamyan and making my way to Kabul, completely on my own. A little boy took me to his house. It was incredible. He gave me eggs and bread and water. And I thought, anything given so clear, kindly as this, it can't do me any harm. So I drank the water. And after I'd met his family in this tiny little village in the mountains, he took me back down to the road. It was only gravel, there were no tarmac then. and he stopped a lorry going back to Kabul. I got on the top, and in my innocence I was under a blanket because I was a woman, and I thought that the people getting on this lorry were kings and princes because they were dressed in beautiful blue and turquoise jackets. I thought these must be royalty. But hang on a minute, if they were royalty, would they really be travelling on the top of a lorry? I don't think so. So in the night it got cold, and the Afghani men invited me into the lorry and gave me apples. There was the driver, me and 2 Afghani men, and all they did was give me apples. I felt so safe. After Kabul, it came the journey to India, someplace that I'd been looking forward to for many, many years. And I travelled through the Khyber Pass again in a lorry and through the deserts just before Pakistan and Afghanistan. And that was called No Man's Land. And they told me, this is very dangerous, there's no law in this place. And there were men with bullets around their shoulders and guns following this bus that I was in. And I nearly waved, but I thought, don't do that. It's dangerous. Anyway, got to Pakistan, crossed the border, just past Lahore, and crossed into India. And the minute I landed on Indian soil, I knew that I'd come home. I felt so at home in India. I then spent time with a family in the Punjab, and still I'm friends with Pommy, who lives in Coventry, and we stayed with them for about a month, and their family had a cow in the kitchen called Lovely. The cow was called Lovely, and from that they could get the milk, fresh milk every day. And I set on my way to go round India. But in North India I was robbed of nearly everything. I only had 2 rupees a day left to live, plus my train fares. But in them days you could get, with a student concession, really cheap fares. So I used my student concession and carried on going round India, because I thought, I'm not going back. If I've been robbed of a piece of paper, then all I've lost is a piece of paper. If they've robbed my happiness, then they've really robbed me. So I carried on, mainly living on the railways. I knew all the railways in India, and without even asking, the station masters had put me in the first class waiting room, and I had a wonderful time. I'd go wandering around, looking at all the sights, and then get the next train down south. On that journey, I got off the train at wrong stop in a little village called Valatal Nagar, just before Shorano. I was going from Cochin to Shorano to change trains to go to Bangalore. By getting down at this little village by accident, I accidentally found the Kerala Kalamandalam. I'd never heard of it before. I met a lovely lady called Leela Nambudripad, who showed me the girls dancing, and they had quite flat makeup and neatly painted eyebrows, and I thought, that'll do for me. If I can learn to paint flat colours, I'll be able to do my own designs. So I decided to train in Kathakali makeup. But remember, I hadn't even seen Kathakali at this point. I'd seen Bharatanatyam. So I came back to England, started to save up, came back again in 1974.
When was the first
journey? Yeah, the first time that I went overland to India was in 1972. And I returned in 1974 to start training at the Kerala Kalamandalam in the makeup, which is called Chutti. And I was sat down. I remember my first day, I went into the new Kalamandalam.
So were you officially admitted as a foreign student? Was this possible?
Yeah. I was officially admitted. I wrote to Kalamandalam saying, can I come and train in chutti? Or makeup as I called it. I didn't know the word, what chutti meant. And remember, I'd still never seen Kathakali in my life. I went into New Kalamandalam and walked up the steps and went into the office, and there was a man called Supran sat behind his desk waiting to greet me. And a lovely man came in, and Supran said to me, this is your Ashan, Guru. He was the most gentle, loving person you could ever wish to meet. Together we went into our gallery classroom, and I sat on the floor, and he gave me a coconut pot with rice paste in it, and a stick, and an overturned earthenware pot with a design painted on it. And he showed me how to dribble this paste, a bit like a worm, onto this pot, and then using a thin stick called an erkila, which is the centre of a coconut leaf, how to spread it out into a certain shape. But my Ashan couldn't speak English. I couldn't speak Malayalam in them days. So he taught me all the designs through sound. And he'd go, and I remember them sounds even now. So I'd still never seen Kathakali, and all week I was dribbling this rice paste on a pot. And then Ashan told me on Friday night there was going to be a performance. I turned up in the evening to Kalamandalam, and my Ashan was doing the chutti, and Padmashri Kalamandalam Gopi was doing Bhima. And I sat and I watched. For the first time in my life I'd seen Kathakali. I was blown away. I had no idea why I had to study, but I knew I had to study properly, and I knew I had to work hard. I had no idea then that 44 years later I'd still be doing chutti. It was incredible to see, first of all, the men praying before they painted their face, and the silence in the green room, and the focus and the energy. It was everything that I was looking for in my own work. The spirituality was clear and so powerful. So I then did my course in Kalamandalam and training every day. I trained in the morning, all day, in the evenings, in the weekends, in the vacation time. If I found any student walking about, I'd grab them and practice on their face. And I got the name of Chutti Barbara. I was absolutely devoted to chutti. But it took quite a long time to learn the technique, and the biggest problem was sitting cross-legged for hours on end, and by the end of the day I'd be walking down the pathway to go back home, bow-legged, in pain, in agony, and everybody used to laugh because they had no problem sitting cross-legged. But in the end I got used to it, and studying chutti for so long was one of the greatest things I'd ever done. And I always say that the future artist is rooted in the training. If the training's good, everything else will materialise. If the training's not good enough, however hard you work, it's never going to be work. So that training that I had from my wonderful guru, and his name is Govinda Warrior Ashan. He was the greatest chutti master that's ever lived, and it was him that helped develop the paper shapes into the rice paste. Before that it was just rice, and it was his skill and his experimentation that enabled the chutti as we know it today, of inserting the rice paste and then the paper shapes and making it strong. That's how we've got chutti today.
Okay, You were telling me about the female chutti artist in Kalamandalam. So were you the first one, or were there any other ladies training to be a chutti artist before?
As far as I know, as far as anybody knows, I am the first female chutti artist in the world, which is quite unique really. But looking back at the time I was studying, they didn't really know what to do with a female member of the company, because I would go with my Ashan to performances, travelling on the bus, and I'd be the only woman. And I could sit next to my classmate Ramachandran, but not really with anybody else unless they were Ashans. I could sit next to them, but there is an I can't say the word, it means top to bottom.
Item.
What?
Hierarchy.
What?
Hierarchy.
Yeah, there is an hierarchy in Kathakali, and it starts with the actors, then the singers, then the chenda players, then the Madalam players, then the chutti artist, then the costumers. So I was pretty low down in the pecking order, and I used to sit on the boxes at the back where the costumes were. And that were brilliant because they were like a little berth. You could lie down and sleep. So when you were coming back from performances, I got a really good rest. So it wasn't easy for them to accept a female as a member of a Kathakali troupe. But my Ashan was brilliant, and he taught me everything that I know. And he would take me for my meals. He would look after me. All the big Ashans used to look after me. They'd make sure that I'd eaten. They'd make sure that I was okay, and they looked after me very, very well. But seeing Kathakali for the first time, it's like seeing a tidal wave. There is so much to look at. It's a feast for the eyes. It's full of colour that just explodes on stage, and this is independent of the actor. The colours are alive in their own right. They have characters, they move differently, they feel different, and when you see Kathakali, the eyes are just flooded with colour. And not only that, the characters have a soul. And the one that I see the most is Hanuman. Nearly every time I do Hanuman, just as I'm finishing off, Hanuman comes into the face of the actor. The actor's disappeared, Hanuman's there. And that's why this is going back now to when I believed that my drawings of horses was alive, that went through into my own artwork where I felt colours were alive, which has come through into my Kathakali chutti makeup work, where I believe the chuttis are alive. They are as alive as the drama, as of the story, and they are so powerful. There is nothing like Kathakali. And what holds it all together, just like the rhythm is holding the movement and the music together, the costumes and makeup are being held together by the structure, the very strict classical structure. And one of the characters, the Redbeard, when I was cutting the paper shape went slightly in, and I had no idea why, but I did it. And once I was watching on stage, and because the shape went slightly in, if you followed the line through, it went to the top of the headdress. If that had been straight, it would have missed it. Now that's not an accident. That is the beauty and the structure and the harmony within the makeup and the costumes working together.
You studied art twice.
Yeah.
Once in the UK,
yeah,
and second in the Kerala.
Yeah.
What was the difference?
Yes, yeah, I can answer that. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to show you something now. This is why I love fabric. is this is quilted so you can feel it, and some of it shines and some of it doesn't shine, and that to me is what I call dancing colour. There's a visual vibration of colour in the work, and why I continued with fabric rather than paint was because you can't get this kind of flesh-like beauty with paint that you can get with fabric. And the way colour interacts is proportion, which again relates very directly to Kathakali. It's the proportion that holds it together. And just these tiny little bits of pink, they're like a poppy in a field. They hold the power themselves. So there's a communication going on within the design, within the colours, within the shapes. And that also is happening in Kathakali. There's a visual communication going on, supported by a visual structure, enriched by an emotional communication, and most important, that inner soul that the images have got. Now bring that together with a brilliant actor, brilliant singers, musicians, you've got something that is from another world. But the idea that the costumes and makeup are added on is absolutely not the case. Now, the difference between my training in England, you're more or less left on your own. You make your own decisions, you make your own designs, your own direction, which was perfect for me. Because as a child in school where I was failing at everything, I used to look out the window and imagine I weren't in school, that I was somewhere else, riding my horse on the Lancashire moors. And I developed the most brilliant imagination you could ever wish for. So that imagination was nurtured at art college. Eventually, not at the beginning, they thought I had a mental illness in my art college in Winchester. And it was when I could hear the colours singing that they said, this isn't right. They sent me to a doctor. The doctor said I had an overactive imagination and he put me on Valium. Well, I don't know if you've ever had Valium, but it's awful. After a few weeks, the whole world went flat. I couldn't feel anything. The colours weren't singing anymore. So I stopped taking the tablets and I thought I'd rather be mad and have my living colours. Now, when I went to India, on that journey I was given a book, Autobiography of a Yogi, by Paramahansa Yogananda, and I read it. I thought, I'll go to one of his ashrams. So I went to the ashram in Ranchi, and I knocked on the door and I said, I'm here, I've come. And they said, where's your subscription? I said, I ain't got any. And they said, well, you can't come in then, you've got to be a member. So I was really disappointed with this, and they said, you've got to go away. But by that time I was really ill, I was with fever. So they let me have one room with a stone bed in it. And I was there for 3 days because my fever was so bad. And then I went on to Ranchi, to Sri Yukteswar's ashram in Puri. Same thing, I arrived at the door, 4 o'clock in the morning. They said, come back tomorrow, have a shower first and come at 4 o'clock, just after sunrise. So there I went, stood outside the door, knocked on it, nobody came. I was waiting there and waiting there and waiting there. I came back the next day, knocked on it, and the man said, come back tomorrow, 4 o'clock. This time I was really fed up. And I said, I've seen more God-realised lorry drivers than you lot. And he said, go away and come back tomorrow. So I came back and they more or less said, have you settled down now? You can come in. And after the 5th day, they let me into the ashram. And that's where I realised that the spirituality of colour was so important. And that's where I was told, I explained to them that I've got this problem, I've got a mental illness. And I explained about at the back of my head that a wind used to come in. And that when I was little, about 3-4 years old, primary school, I had a thing that went up my spine and blew into my head. And I used to tell the teacher my head's come off. And they used to tell me to lie down and don't worry, I'd get over it. But they said something the opposite to what they told me in England. They said, you haven't got a mental illness, you're very lucky. The drawbridge in the back of your head where the wind comes is divine energy entering the body. The thing that goes up your spine and blows your head off is the rising of the Kundalini. And they said that the reason it happened as a child was because I was born with it. And suddenly I had a different outlook on my creativity. It wasn't something I was producing because I was mad. It was something I was producing because I was very, very blessed and very, very lucky. And that spirituality within art, that soul that I saw all them years ago in my studio in Winchester College of Art, that soul was the essence of my own work and the essence of Kathakali. And that is why I am so strict with Kathakali, no talking in the dressing room, no wearing shoes when you're touching the costumes, and that spirituality within Kathakali and within my own work are the same. There's no difference. But the way I got to them is totally different. One was through an imaginative, creative, experimental approach to art, and the other one was a very strict, rigid approach to art. And both fed each other. By doing chutti, it has to be accurate to the millimetre of an inch. And then doing work like this one, which was part of a temple, it was wonderful to work in the two different styles. And what I love about Kathakali is its classical structure and the way that the energy runs along lines. And them lines were laid down thousands of years ago. And what an honour to be part of that visual structure. And I truly believe that Kathakali isn't our toy to play with. We are fortunate to come into its path, and for the time that we have, to be part of its family. Because it is a family. It's a family of visual artists, chutti artists, costumers, musicians, drummers, singers, actors. It's all a team effort where everyone specialises in their section.
Could you tell us about your first meeting? I know that both of you were from Kalamandalam. Then about your first meeting and the experiences, if you could share.
Okay.
He'll disagree with this.
Oh, no.
We first met as students at the Kalamandalam, and he kept smiling at me.
Oh God.
And I knew of him, but I didn't really know Vijay that well because I was the year above you, weren't I?
Mm.
And it was really when I left Kalamandalam to come back to England to start my own theatre group called Centre Ocean Stream, which is all about living colour. And I went back again, and it's when I went back again that we met. Vijay were walking across the railway line in Cherutaruti, and you said, "Remember me, didn't you?"
Yeah, I remember that.
And I said, "Yeah, I remember you."
Yeah, no.
And we were friends ever since.
Yeah. But she got always is a railway line or a railway station in her stories. Yeah, we met, we are a student, and then she left Kerala. She came to UK and started her own company, and I was studied my education in Kalamandalam, and then I was traveling around in India, and all over India, Delhi, Calcutta, Bombay, or everywhere. Anyway, and then we went abroad with the Kalamandalam troupe, and then we started a troupe, small troupe in Kerala, and started performing. And then Barbara came along, and then we met again, and we started to merge together to start performing in Kerala, and then we become going to UK. Yeah, that is the story.
Yeah, where you got married, or even apart from working partners, so where you
Yeah,
got
we married now. Yeah, we married in 1989.
We first got married in a little room full of coconuts,
Oh yeah.
and we exchanged these little lockets.
Yeah, yeah,
That was in
yeah,
Kerala,
yeah.
These
Well,
little
they call
lockets.
tali.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we married. Yeah, and we married in a British office in Southampton. Yeah.
Yeah.
So legally married. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
In fact, when Vijay were coming on the aeroplane, you were so excited. You couldn't wait to get off the plane, and you were first off. And I was so excited.
Yeah, I don't have to wait for anyone to come with me. I can come home straight away.
I'd forgotten where I'd parked the car.
Yeah.
Well, you know how big the car parks are at Heathrow, and we spent the first
A
time
couple of
in
hours,
England
looking
for
in the
our
car where you left the car. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your family were associated with when you get married, any of your family were-
Actually, that is a long story, because I thought maybe if I tell Barb, my family, maybe they're saying is maybe they are against me. And I thought I not telling to them. If I married, then I'm going to tell them. So I married in here before tell my parents, my family, and then I told them. So that's okay, yeah.
But they didn't like it.
Yeah, that is up to them, isn't it?
So why didn't they like it?
I don't know, because
She's a nice person, no?
yeah, they don't. The thing is, they in India, all the families is in a certain
Close.
in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want in a box. So sorry.
So since after that you stayed in this town, or
Pardon?
since after that, where you stayed?
Yeah, because
Southampton,
when 1988, me and Barbara started the tour in UK, and after that is we got lots of education work, and we started doing in the school and college and universities and kind of stuff. The troupe went back to India, and now we stayed in here, and then we decided to marry. Yeah, so and I'm always I came to UK before. In Kalamandalam troupe, and then I realized is if I go to another country, because the language, because at least I can say yes or no in English, so that is an advantage about an Indian person, because so that was great, yeah, because we we did a lot of work in education work. We are survived because of workshop, solo performances, lecture, and the workshops. That is keep us going. Yeah,
But the idea of the workshops came because I remember I'm a visual artist, Chutti artist, and I'd run lots of workshops with my own theatre group, Central Ocean Stream, so I was okay at running and structuring workshops. But I said to Vijayan, just show me a little bit of Kathakali. It was like a tidal wave. I said, hang on a minute, this has got to be broken down. And that's why we started with the sign language, then I did the face, then I did the full body, then I did the rhythm. Because it is so complex, and it's only when you break it down and understand each element that you can understand how it's put together. But it didn't stop there because of the creative way Central Ocean Stream had worked in the community and education. It was a ready-made roadmap for Kathakali to follow. For example, the boat song. What's it called, that boat song?
Oh, whatever, anyway.
you know the boat song that the armies used to sing?
Why?
Oh yeah, this.
Yeah.
Yeah, well that, we did a workshop based on that song in music, and then to finish it off, the group went on a real boat on a loch in Scotland, so they could get the feeling of that rhythm as they were rowing the boat. So it's trying to take Katakali into a new direction whilst keeping its sacred roots that has been behind all the education work that we've done. We never mix Katakali, we never mix Katakali Bharatanatyam, Mohiniyattam and do it all to never. Katakali is Katakali, but its children are endless. For example, drama students, they can enrich the way and develop the way they use their face and eyes. Dancers can develop how they connect the whole body, their toes, their fingers, their eyes, and the way the face is engaged in the movement. So without it, the golden rule is no imitation, no copying. Taking like for example, they develop their own sign language and then add their own facial expression and their own movement. And you've got the classical Katakali that they learn, and they do it okay, but obviously in a short time they can't do it perfect. But their own work is building as well. So they're building two columns of their understanding of Katakali. And we've done some incredible, we did images from sound, where it was the sound that started off their design idea, and incorporating the abstract with the classical has produced some really exciting work in our time.
Yeah, I agree with that because the education, Western way of thinking and creative work Kathakali as a classical, they have to produce as a performer. That element gave it to someone else. They are creating their own. They are no copying because that is their creation. I like that. Yeah. So that's the way we are work in a college or a universities or a 7-year-old. So always work here.
But we have a system. There's what is it, understanding what it is, and then creating from it. And if a workshop's going wrong, it's because one of them sections is not right. Either there wasn't enough information about what they were doing, so they couldn't understand and they couldn't create, or it went on too long, so they got bored, and so then they didn't understand it. So them proportions of
you have to balance each
what
other.
it is, understanding it, and how to create with it, are finely tuned. And because we work as a team, we've been able to produce some really exciting work. Katakali, like I said before, isn't our toy to play with. We're in its shadow for the amount of time that we're lucky enough to be there, and we have to protect its spirituality, and we have to like talking in the green room is not allowed. And in India, most of the green rooms are so noisy with people talking, answering phones, joking, laughing. And I'm always telling them, you have to be quiet. This is a temple. It's not like a bus station before you get on the bus. And for the Chutti artists, it's our time to focus and concentrate and to become the characters that we're creating. And too much talking in the green room, it destroys that. So I'm always telling them off. And that's the biggest difference. When we were students, the green room was silent. And sitting next to these mountains of skill, of power in these great ashans.
Yeah, we are actually Kalajana Kathakali. We did might be 3,000 full company shows in the UK alone. Not just me doing myself, solo performances or workshop, just artists from India. I mean, even Gopias, I mean, in UK, maybe 500 stages, and no any other company done that many shows. And we are not just doing the shows; we are educating to the audience, and that is the beauty of. I like it because Barbara is a brilliant speaker, and she know how to speak what Kathakali is, and she know what she's talking about. And when we are doing the show, we do the demonstration and tell how we start work together, and then workshops, demonstration, then synopsis, then we do the show, and lots of time. I will tell you the story. In once we are in a college, we arrived Ellesmere College. This one of the girl, and she came and to see us, and she studied about Kathakali, but she never seen Kathakali before. And anyway, they took us into their meals place, beautifully done, every the dining table for us, and we had a meal, and we went to the dressing room. She was with us, and then Barbara was doing the chutti. She was staying with Barbara. She was so interesting. She knew everything, but she never seen it. Anyway, and that night we had a full company show with the Gopiasan and everyone, and she brought her parents also. Anyway, after the show, she was very loudly started crying because of her enjoyment, and she never expected anything like that. And anyway, she came to the dressing room and hugging to the Madhuram player or a gender player, and and nobody's ever seen it because so emotional. Because can you imagine the other way around? Because the person saw is more than beyond her words, her imagination. If that's only Kathakali can do it, because the music there, the drumming there, the performance skill there, the story there, and the way we present it, that's successful. So that is, we done so many stages. And I remember once Barbara was saying to, we had this a meeting, it was some sort of a cultural thing. And we arrived, we had our bhaji with the Kathakali, we representing Kathakali, and lots of other people there. Anyway, somebody came around, a few people, and asking to us, and you are Kathakali people, yeah? And you did the show. I said, yes, we did the show. And then this person asking, because the Gopiasan was performing, and he said, we had nearly 400 people was there, and all the audience thought, that side people think Gopiasan is performing for him. This side people think they're performing for them. And that is a skill. That is the engagement. That I like that because of Kathakali can grab audience the way you are presenting it. If not, you can be failed easily.
But the biggest problem with Kathakali is the amount of admin work. The raising the funds, taking the bookings, organising the accommodation, doing the publicity, checking the technical side, the food, the tour diary that I make. Every single day I know where we are, what we're doing, what time we leave, when we get back, where we're going to eat, where we're going to do the shopping. And that takes 18 months to do one tour, and it's exhausting. And there's no guarantee, because without the funding we couldn't possibly raise enough money. So every time I have to think of a different angle, for example, the tour that we're doing next year, I've linked it with the right of women to feel safe in society. And we're doing Nala Chadada's second day, where Damayanti is deserted by Nala in the forest and pestered by Katalan, and finally released as Katalan's burnt to ashes. Because that's to show that Kathakali can be topic about things that are important to communities today, which is the safety of women. And things have got to change. And that happened with the Kathakali stories. They were presented to humiliate the abusers and to show the dignity of women, and to use that message today, I think is going to be a very powerful way. But bringing Kathakali to this country, especially 34 years ago, you got good lights, you got a good sound system, you got punctuality, you got discipline. And without that, of course, without the discipline, you couldn't do the tour. And the artists actually liked that, that they were disciplined and they'd come to do the performances and not to go off and have parties. And Nelio Dashan especially loved the fact that I always gave him a room on his own so he could pray. And that consideration that we could give them, because we're artists ourselves, other promoters wouldn't know their needs like we did. So that's why the tours went so smoothly, because they were beautifully managed and beautifully prepared, because it's all in the preparation. And that takes a lot of hard work though.
Yeah, I remember once the technician saying, because a 3 months tour, and he said, I follow the book, I never ask you any question because everything in there. He know the accommodation, he know the starting point,
Where to get the
where to
key.
get the keys, where to get to the minute thing. It's all arranged. But the future, that's the question is, we don't know.
With COVID,
Yeah,
it's
it's very
affected
hard, very
everyone.
hard time for everyone.
Yeah.
And we might be wait and see what happen. After next tour can finish, and maybe everything can be, and maybe we are retired. We don't know. Who knows?
It's hard to say
Yeah,
that.
hard to say that. Yeah.